Soldiers, since Memorial Day is coming up on Monday, who have perished. Coming up soon. Thank you. Please be seated. All set, Tom? Board members and guests and people from the board, I welcome all of you. Tonight we have the honor and the pleasure to have a distinguished person speak to us, and that would be our new DA, ourselves. It's all yours.
Thank you so much, members of the board, Chairman Italiano. Thank you so much for having me. I see old friends and new friends here. I feel like, I've been here before, because some of you I've seen at, the breakfast, other community boards, things overlap, but, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I've spent these last 5 months now crisscrossing the county to really get out and meet the people that are the residents of the Bronx. And I'm doing it by way of going to the community boards, the precinct community councils. June is coming up, so I got plenty of graduations. It's a lot of territory to cover. But I'm happy to do it because I just want you all to know that the Bronx District Attorney's Office is here for you. My background, for those of you who may not know me, before I was elected DA and started January 1st, I was a judge for 16 years in this county. And before that, an assistant district attorney in the Bronx DA's office, the very same office that I'm running now. I'm a lifelong resident of the Bronx. As I campaign, I call myself a daughter of the Bronx. And I really am, because this is the county that made me who I am. So I'm proud to do this work. I'm married to a police officer, a detective. He's been on the job now 34 years, so I have the real law and order in my house. Those reruns, I got the real thing. But I've just dedicated my life to public service, so I'm happy to do this job day in and day out. Been in office 5 months. I felt every day of these 5 months, I can tell you. But it's a labor of love, because it's just so much work that needs to be done in the Bronx DA's office. I'm making a lot of changes. I'm hoping I'm making a difference in the community. I've gotten a lot of good feedback. A lot of people have been excited about the change and my becoming DA. Many people are just excited about the fact that it's a woman, which I'm happy about. The first woman DA in the Bronx, and the first African American woman to serve as DA in the entire state of New York. So, thank you. So you, the residents of the Bronx, have really helped put the Bronx on the map and make history here in this state. A number of things that I wanted to do when I got into the office. I'm facing a lot of challenges taking over an office from a person who served 27 years as a district attorney. And it was my vision and my focus to bring that office really into the 21st century, and that's some of the things that I'm doing. As you know, you read the papers, you watch the news, we're facing a tremendous backlog in the cases in the Bronx, trying to get people trials. Defendants are waiting 2, 3, 4 years to have their trial. And at the same time, that means the victims of crimes are also not having their day in court, waiting 2, 3, 4 years to have their cases go to trial. Part of it is a lack of resources. They need to give us more judges. Part of it is that we don't have enough jurors, believe it or not. And before I leave here, I'm going to encourage you all to please don't ignore that jury duty subpoena when you get it. Because really part of getting this job done is making sure that we have the residents of the Bronx sit and listen and make the decisions on the cases that go before the courts. And a lot of times we'll have a judge, we'll have lawyers ready, and we don't have enough jurors, believe it or not. And so we want people to serve that really care about the community. And coming to a community board, I know I'm speaking to the right people. I'm like speaking to the choir, preaching to the choir. But it is just so important. I can tell you that's one of the ways you can help the DA's office do the work that we have to do. But the backlog also, some of it lies at the door of the district attorney's office. The office needed to be restructured. We needed to change the system. It's a horizontal system right now, and I want to switch it to a vertical system. And what I mean by that is I want to set up a system where one assistant district attorney has the case from beginning to end. Right now, that's not how it happens. If the police arrest somebody and they bring the case into the office and goes to the complaint room, there's an assistant district attorney that writes up that case. Then after the case is written up, it's handed off to another assistant DA who does the arraignment on the case when they go before the judge. After the person is arraigned, then that case goes to a particular bureau. Another assistant district attorney gets that case. And so on and so on. So the life of a case is extended simply by the fact that about 5 lawyers handle it. And each time a new lawyer gets it means there's more delays. That assistant has to take time to really get to know the case, re-interview the witnesses, find out where they are. And people get tired of that, those delays. All of a sudden, witnesses decide they don't want to cooperate, their memories fade. We don't need that. I'm switching it to a vertical system where one assistant DA takes the case from beginning to end. And I think that will be helpful in cutting down a lot of the delays. So that means that when that witness comes into that complaint room with the police officer and that case is written up, that assistant DA that takes the case that day is the assistant DA on the case. But for them leaving the office, it's their case until it's disposed of. And I think that's going to make a tremendous difference because now the witnesses will have contact with their lawyer right away. They'll get to know each other. They'll be able to rely on that person. And so that's one of the things that I want to do. So that part of that will help the backlog. Some of the policies and procedures that have been in place for years in the office, and at the time that they were developed may have made sense. I had to reevaluate all of those policies and procedures because they may not apply now. And I think that I've identified some of those things, and now I've reevaluated them, and some of them I've changed. I've done away with the policy altogether, or I tweaked it so that it is more appropriate for the types of cases and the atmosphere and the way that the courts are run now. I think that's going to help, with the backlog. So those are some of the things that I right away have to face that challenge, and I'm doing what I have to. The other biggest challenge, and you've probably heard about it and saw on TV, is that the Bronx DA is in charge of the prosecution of crimes that happen on Rikers Island. So, yes, it's like Rikers Island, you gotta cross the Tri-Borough Bridge to get to Rikers. How was that the Bronx? Well, it sits in the water, that's the Bronx. So the Bronx DA is responsible for that. And there's 10,000 inmates at Rikers, and the place is about to explode. I mean, they've reduced the population quite a bit, and that's one of the reasons why there's so much tension is because there's too many people there. So, there's a lot of things underway to do bail reform and different things. Low-level, nonviolent people shouldn't have to be in Rikers if what they committed was not that serious. And, that's determined by the judge. But, people who are poor and who commit a low-level crime, first-time arrest, they shouldn't have to sit in Rikers Island a year, 2 and 3 waiting for their trial simply because they're poor. They are in Rikers Island. That causes tension, that causes problems. The gangs is out of control here in the Bronx, and it's stemming right from in Rikers Island. These gangs are running their criminal businesses from Rikers Island to out on the street.
Wow.
So one of the things I had to do is take a leadership role in getting a handle on what is happening at Rikers Island. It's not all my job. There's a lot of stakeholders in it, and I've gotten them all together, and we're really working on a real strategic plan to work on Rikers Island. But in the meantime, I have to fight the crime that's there. Last week, we announced an indictment of 17 people from Rikers Island. 2 corrections officers, 1 Department of Corrections staff member, a cook, several inmates, and several people from the outside community that were running a smuggling scheme into Rikers Island. And what happens is that the people on the outside get the drugs and scalpels. 17, several scalpels were smuggled into Rikers Island by 2 corrections officers. And given to those inmates and wreaked havoc, slashings, everything on a daily basis is happening there. And they're making a lot of money. The stuff that they're selling, and also drugs, as well as the scalpels, sell it for 3 times as much, 4 times as much as it is on the street. So it's a thriving business there, but myself, along with the Department of Investigations Commissioner, worked hard on that investigation, and we took down 17 people. So I'm sending a message to everybody at Rikers. I'm following the evidence wherever it goes. So that part of that is a public integrity problem, because you have corrections officers that are violating their oath of office. I will arrest them, as you can tell. Inmates, gang members, you commit a crime, I'm going after you, and people on the street, the same thing. And hopefully, investigations like that and others is gonna do a lot of things to help stem some of that violence and bring more law and order to Rikers Island. So those are 2 of the really big challenges I'm dealing with now. And I say that the last 5 months, I've concentrated mostly on that, as well as recruiting really good people to come in and help me. So that's what we're doing at the Bronx DA's office. I also felt that the community needs to know more about what we were doing. So of course, we always have a representative on the community boards from my office, but I also enhanced my community affairs unit by adding community engagement coordinators. And what they are doing is just that, they have to engage the community. So for this particular area, the borough is divided into sections or zones. And the person for your zone is Rayshawn Horry, which you all probably know already. She's not here today, but I have Mr. James Santos here, who is from my office. And what they're doing, they're going to community board meetings, they're going to precinct council meetings, churches, schools, businesses, whoever needs some assistance from the DA's office. You want us to bring a program in here, we'll do it. You want to find out more about what we do, we'll do it. And they're the ones that you contact in order to let us know, what's happening. They are the ones that are really helping me keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening in the community. So that's where we are. Thank you so much for your support. I always am happy to come to community board meetings because, again, you are the lifeline of the community. You're the ones that believe in where you live, and you all are here because you want to make it better. And I want to continue to have a partnership with you. So thank you very much. If you want, I can answer a few questions. I do have to go to Community Board 12 also. So, this is my life. I get in the office, I got to do office, I got meetings, and then at night I'm out at events. So I have no problem. If you want me to answer any questions.
Ms. Clark,
Yes.
in the past, the DA's office pled down over 90% of their cases. So we have people that are walking the streets that have been arrested 50 times, and they're 30 years old, because they plead down felonies to misdemeanors and they walk. We're hoping that you will see things a little differently, and the DAs will see things a little bit differently. The police blame the DA's office. The DA's office blames the judges, and everybody. In other words, what's happening is everybody's blaming everybody. We're not getting it done. So I just ask that when you deal with a career criminal, that is taken seriously, and that the case is not pled down to the misdemeanor where he walks again and he's out in the street to hurt someone else.
I appreciate that comment, and I can definitely identify with that, having worn 2 of those 3 hats that you're talking about, being a judge as well as a prosecutor. Look, part of the problem is, everybody is going to blame each other, but it's the system that we have, unfortunately. And part of doing criminal justice is plea bargaining, not necessarily pleading it down, but making sure you do the right thing for the case. The other problem is just what I told you, because there's not enough judges, and sometimes we don't have jurors, and we have people sitting and waiting years to get their case handled. By the time the case goes forward, the witnesses have disappeared, I can tell you, I can speak to you as members of the community. If you're a victim of a crime or you're a witness to a crime, we have to ask you to be patient and still want to cooperate. But when it takes 2 and 3 years to happen, people lose interest. And what happens is that it forces the DA or the court to either dismiss the case because we no longer have the witnesses, or because the witnesses don't remember anything. And that's one of the things that causes sometimes these things to have to be pled down. Now, as far as career criminals, you know, you're talking to the right prosecutor, because I spent 16 years on the bench, and I can tell you, I sent a lot of people to state prison. So it's not something that I'm shy about doing or recommending, okay? So, and the defense bar knows that too. But, you know, but it's something for those who really deserve it. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna make sure they serve what they have to serve. But there are others where, you know, we're gonna have to, I, as a prosecutor, am going to have some compassion. Some people are committing crimes because they're mentally ill. Some people, this heroin problem is at an epidemic proportion now in this county. I can't tell you how many drug overdoses we have every single day. So we gotta do something to fight that as a public health problem as well as a criminal justice problem. So, you know, I have to do a lot of balancing. So I can promise you, whatever I do is gonna be firm and fair, because that's how I am. That's all I know. But, you know, there are gonna be times, and again, we don't do these plea offers lightly. We speak to the victims, you know, we make sure that the case is really evaluated so that, you know, we do justice, and that's what I'm gonna do. So that's what I can guarantee you. Thank you.
Hello. Hi. One of the questions that I did forget to ask you was, one of the major quality of life issues that everybody is dealing with, and want to know how the DA is going to go forward with this, is graffiti. So we know we are lessening, you know, we are bringing things down and not bulking up the courts, but how will you be handling repeat offenders that spend a lot of our taxpayer money on graffiti removal?
Well, we work with, thank you for that question. We work with the police department. They have units that work just with graffiti. And what's the most important thing is that we get the intelligence on who these people are. We know the tags, you know, the police know the tags. And the thing is that we have to do, it is a quality of life problem. I mean, we have to do things like, make them pay for it. We have programs where we make them clean it up. You know, that's one of the main ones, is make them clean it up. You know, and then some of them, you know, it's hard to believe, but some of them are like frustrated artists, believe it or not. They have no canvases, so they just do it wherever they want. So I'm thinking of programs like that, alternatives to jail and stuff like that, because it is a quality of life crime. It's a misdemeanor. Chances are the judges, and I haven't been one, I can tell you that, are not necessarily going to send somebody to jail for a year for graffiti, although it's very serious to the community, and we know that. So we should do other ways, make them do community service, clean it up. If they really want to draw and whatever, let's find some art programs and, you know, do in conjunction with the Bronx Museum or different, you know, community centers where they can put it to good use. And some of them do, you know, end up doing that. So, you know, reach out to the colleges, maybe there's art programs like that. So I'm trying to think outside the box with some of those things. But the key is to make sure that they can appreciate what they're doing. I mean, there's a lot of restorative justice ways where you can have that defendant be confronted by the person whose house they, you know, destroyed. And talking about, do you realize, you know, would you want me to come and write all over your house? And they get it. It's like, you know what? I didn't think of it. I'm sorry or whatever. And, you know, they think about it again. There's a lot of young kids most of the time. But there's things that we can do. And, you know, I take it very seriously because I know, you know, what that's like. And some of them, if they keep doing, they'll end up going to jail because the judges will send them. You know, they will put them on probation or something. All right? Thank you. Anyway, I don't want to take up all the
That's it. One more.
Jeremy cut you.
Eat it. Yeah, eat it.
First of all, let me welcome you to our community.
Thank you.
We look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go to the topic of graffiti again,
Okay.
and I'll tell you what upset me last year.
Okay.
We have the Palm Parkway Neighborhood Association, which you know about.
Yeah.
We had a judge as a guest speaker. We're not asking that the people that do graffiti go to jail necessarily, because I don't think they're really criminals. I think they have nothing to do with their time.
Right.
Well, we asked as judges to have them remove the graffiti that they drew.
Yeah.
The judge's answer to us was, we can't have them do it in that neighborhood because we don't want them to be embarrassed.
You know who to be embarrassed?
The people that did the graffiti. Now, were you there that night?
Yes, I was there.
Oh, what
Okay.
judge was that?
Yeah.
Was it a Bronx judge? Because let me tell you something, there's some judges that sit in the Bronx, but they're not from here, so I can't take, I'm not gonna claim them.
It was a Bronx judge. My answer to him was very nicely, you don't want to embarrass them to remove what they put on. They're lowering our neighborhoods. They're
Right.
making it look like slum areas.
Right.
Again, we're not asking for jail terms for these kids.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to do murals, we'll be glad to have them do decent murals.
Right, right.
Thank you.
Well, I don't agree with not embarrassing them, because if the embarrassment is gonna be something, so they won't do it again, seems like it's gonna work for me. So I don't share that view. I don't share that view.
That's it?
Yes.
Madam DA, welcome to the Bronx. I followed your career as a DA and as a judge, and I can assure you, she's gonna be a tough cookie. And we have an ace in the hole that people don't know, a husband. He'll keep her honest. He'll keep her honest.
I keep him on.
Madam DA, I want to say that thank you for coming. The people I know here will support you, we will support you, and we welcome you back at any time.
All right.
We look forward to it.
Thank you. You know how to
very
get in
much.
touch with me. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.